What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog and MMA Wagers back here with another LFA betting breakdown video this week for LFA 103, headlined by Spike Carlyle. And his opponent is Batsumberel. Don't know how to pronounce the last name, out of Mongolia, but it's Dagvadorj. He's basically known as Batman. That's what a lot of people call him. But either way, it's a really good main event, actually, in all seriousness. As always, here with Brandon from MMA Wagers. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Good. I'm ready to break down the LFA 103. We'll get the betting odds going. We'll get breakdowns and predictions all in one.
Yeah, we killed it last week. We did pretty well. I think we missed on one.
The AJ Cunningham. I felt like an idiot, but
yeah,
it happens.
AJ Cunningham, who going into that breakdown, I was the one who was hesitant on him, and then you sold me. You sold me on him, man. You said I said I didn't like the odds. I said I was thinking the dog, and then you really it's all good.
I'm not doing that anymore. This is low-level MMA at the end of the day, so I'm not going to be confident in any of these. Well, I'm obviously going to have my strong leans, but I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot like that again.
Yeah, and if you are watching, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do. We do previews, we do interviews, awesome interviews. Tyson Chartier just had an interview with Zach and the KO boys, Coffee and KO boys. But yeah, we do all breakdowns for everything from LFA to Bellator to UFC, Cage Warriors, everything in between. We will be doing Titan FC in the future as well. So, but for tonight, for today, before the big UFC 260 breakdown this evening, I'll just plug that. Myself, Brian Pooh Bear, as always, battle, and a special guest, UFC contender, flyweight contender, Jimmy the Brick Flick, who, if you've been following him on social media, man, he is a MMA betting fiend now. He's nailing these bets every week. He's coming on to join us for the breakdown. So we've got two legit MMA prospects, and then I'm pretty good at MMA betting. So between the three of us, we're breaking down the UFC 260 card. But enough about that. We have a LFA card to break down, and these have been the money makers, man. 18 of 21 in the last three events for me. I think you're probably around the same. And we'll see. I think there's a few spots here to disagree. Only 5 fights that we're going to go over from the betting perspective, one of which got called off kind of late. So, but we'll jump in with the beginning of this card. There is a main card fight before this of an 8-6 guy and a 5-5 guy. It's not on the breakdown, but that's Kendrick Latchman versus Luciano Ramos. Ramos is going to get a submission, I think, fairly easily against a bare knuckle FC guy who just is not. I've seen Latchman on the regional scene. He's very susceptible to submission. So, but no betting on that. And the first fight we do have to bet on is a really good one at welterweight, though.
Did you know Amanda Borg's fighting on this card?
Amanda Borg is, and tell us about Amanda Borg.
That's Ray Borg's wife, if anybody did not know. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. She is 0-5, but that she.
I was about to say, man, she's 0-5. She's fighting on the prelims of a LFA card, which I would watch the prelims if they're available, but I don't think they're gonna. Unless she does something, I think, notable, we're probably not going to hear too much about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a round 1 submission for the girl she's fighting, unfortunately. I just want to throw that out there. It's Ray Borg's wife fighting.
I frankly didn't even look at that until you pointed out, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the first fight on the main card, that bantamweight fight, as I said, probably will be a quick one by submission as well. But the first fight to bet on the main card is at 170 welterweight, and it's a really good one. Josh Quinlan, who, if you've been watching LFA, you should be very familiar with. He's been super exciting. Stepping on short notice against a guy in Dallas Jennings that I wasn't too familiar with until I started to do a little research, but has some decent experience. First of all, I want to say that. 9-2 as an amateur and 3-1 as a pro. Hasn't fought since December of 2019. He's 30 years old. He has a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I didn't really note the gym he's out of. He's a 6 foot tall, 170er. So, he's a decent guy. He has beaten a guy with 20 fights on his record and knocked him out pretty quickly. That was his last fight. So I think this is going to be a pretty exciting fight based on how Josh Quinlan's fought. I'm a lot more familiar with Josh. Obviously, he's fought in LFA twice now, getting knockouts in both those fights and looking pretty good for the most part. He is kind of a give one to take one to get into the war type of guy, though. And that's where I'm a little bit hesitant here on Josh Quinlan. I think is most likely going to be the favorite. I do not look at the betting odds till we look at them here live. Just kind of decided to do that to get a pure breakdown. But I do anticipate Josh Quinlan's favorite being 4-0 as a pro, 5-0, 6-0 as a amateur, getting mostly finishes and looking pretty good. But, again, he hasn't fought the craziest level of competition either. Dallas Jennings has 14 fights, 15 fights of experience, and pretty well-rounded himself. Has the ability to get the knockout, as he showed in his last fight. He's a big guy, too. So I think Quinlan's got to be smart here coming in on short notice. Dallas has been preparing for this fight as well. So I'm going to go Quinlan, but I'm going to say Quinlan gets a decision here. I don't know. I'm going to wait to see the odds before I say if it's a good bet. But I'd say Quinlan, as long as he's not a major favorite, I'll consider betting him.
Yeah, buddy, I agree for sure. Josh should pull off the W here. I didn't know he was coming in short notice. That's news to me.
Yes. Yeah. So originally, Dallas Jennings was slated. It doesn't say he was slated to fight, but I know Quinlan took this on short notice.
Okay.
But Quinlan also, after his last fight against Joe Borserig, I believe is how you say it. Like he was that was back in the beginning of the year, and it was a 3-round fight, but he really kind of cruised in that and was ready to come right back. So I think he pretty much stayed ready. I don't get the impression that Quinlan at 28 years old is taking a lot of time off. Has good size and everything. It's just that Dallas, 9-2 as an amateur, 3-1 as a pro, purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and has knockout power. I would be careful here, and I'll look at the odds here now. And yeah, it's not too bad. Quinlan, well, it's about right on the edge of what I would want to bet it. It's minus 250 for Quinlan.
That was Harris last weekend, which some say was a robbery, but he pulled it off.
Harris is a guy who early on in his career, because of his height, in his conditioning, but honestly, because of the name he has and the reputation he has at such an early part of his career, he's going to win these close decisions, even if he doesn't win them. It was
sketchy, but he got her done.
Right. While Quinlan's a striker. This is not the same type of thing where
100%
you're going to know if Quinlan wins or not. And so
he's a savage. I wanted to say that. Quinlan is a savage.
Yeah, he's an absolute savage.
A Tasmanian devil.
I just worried that eventually that savage tendency is going to kind of cost him.
One of these times he's going to get clipped. His opponent he's got 5 knockouts as an amateur, 2 as a professional. But 4 of those victories as an amateur actually got changed to a no contest for a banned substance. But if it was marijuana, then I'll give him a pass. But it doesn't clarify what the banned substance
I couldn't find what it was either.
So I'm going to consider those as wins at the end of the day.
Also, if he was on something else, I'm always a believer in this. Once you're on PEDs, they do have a benefit to you, even if you're not on them anymore.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, of course. I'm not a PED expert, but I think if he was doing PEDs back in 2016, and even he's gotten benefits from building his body and competing with that level of, these are all greasy kind of theories. But again, it's just these are kind of things there hasn't been that crazy upset yet in LFA this year, where it was no one could see that coming. I get Tommy Aaron a few weeks ago was an upset, but if you really looked into that, it wasn't a crazy upset.
Tony Ferguson's guy?
Yeah. He was a plus 280.
Funny. I don't know where the odds makers' heads were in that fight.
He was facing an undefeated guy, and they love those undefeated records, but it's
undefeated. We can find a gem on this card.
A lot of times in MMA, undefeated means untested. That's what it means in MMA.
So Josh Quinlan.
Yeah, so we'll see. This is going to be, I think, Quinlan's toughest test to date. And I think it's a really good card. I think this is the fight of the night. I know I shouldn't be saying that right away, but honestly, there's probably 2 or 3 fights I could say about. But covers that fight. I wanted to cover that one a little bit more because I am more excited about this one or that one. This one I'm not as excited about. It's at bantamweight. Fernie Garcia versus Isaiah Batin Gonzalez. Isaiah Batin Gonzalez's last loss was to Jesse Strader, where Jesse Strader just had his appearance. Got absolutely looked like he did not belong in there, and frankly, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Jesse Strader, Brian Battle pointed this out to me during our breakdown last week for the UFC. Jesse Strader throws the same body, hook every single fight, and that's what he knocked out Batin Gonzalez with.
Oh,
the
really?
Body hook. That's what he knocked him out with.
That's what he's training Aaron Carter to do.
Like it's just every single time. So, I mean, Fernie Garcia, he's a younger guy. He's more well-rounded. He's been in a shitload of split decisions and like decisions just in general.
Last fight shouldn't have been a split decision. If anybody has seen that, that doesn't make any sense.
This is why you have to go back and watch fights. You can't just look at them on paper and be like, "Oh, the split was close."
That was a dominant unanimous.
I think that was a misread scorecard. Honestly.
Yeah, the judges are always on different pillars, so maybe one judge had a different view. I think
that's exactly what happened because that wasn't a split. Because of that, I think this is Fernie Garcia all day. He's got a real system down on how to win these. I'd like to see him push for a finish more against a less prime opponent here, but we'll see. Either way, I think this is Fernie, and I'm not anticipating this being too exciting. I think it's going to be pretty one-sided, which I consider not exciting.
His last fight, he was a minus 950 favorite, so he had to bet 950 to win 100. I don't know what the odds.
Get better odds this time. Do you have anything else to say on this fight?
I say it's 36 at this point. I've never actually seen him fight. He does have a win in Bellator. Do you know who he beat in Bellator?
It wasn't anybody of note, and you can see and you can really look very quickly at Isaiah's fight against Jesse Strader in Combate Americana. It's right on there. Bellator, it's a guy named Kai Wu. He was 2-1 at the time. Since his loss, Kai Wu has won 4 straight. So, including
that
could have been at the beginning of this year. Yeah, including at the beginning of this year, he has another win. So Kai Wu might have gotten awakened by Isaiah kind of exposing him a little bit. Isaiah, it was a split decision, but still.
Yeah, man, I like Fernie. Like that last fight really pissed me off when I heard it was a split because I had him. I think I got him before he was minus 950. I don't remember him being that high of a favorite, but I guess a lot of money. That's what happens. So much money comes in on these high favorites. You can get him early at minus 400, and by the time the fight rolls around, he'll be minus 700, minus 800. So try to get your bets in tonight after watching this video, of course.
Well, I got good news for you. The odds are looking pretty decent for this fight because it appears that minus 290.
Wow.
Still under minus 300 against a guy in Isaiah Batin Gonzalez, who's 36. He is training out of AKA, so it's a very good camp.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Fernie's coming out of Fortis MMA, though. That's another great camp. And
there's a lot of good
later on the video, we'll talk about another Fortis MMA fighter.
Right. There's 2 Fortises on this. I like Fernie. I don't mind pairing him up with Quinlan to just start out the night with a quick near-even parlay.
Yeah, I'm just going to look into Ryan Hayes quick, the guy that went a split decision with him.
Yeah.
So Ryan Hayes was 31, more in his prime. He was 9-6, though, so he almost had a 500 record. But yeah, like it's almost the same competition, in my opinion. And this guy's older. And it's a lower weight class. You don't see many 36-year-olds, reaching their prime at such a young age. That's more of a heavyweight thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 36 at 145, you're slowing down for sure.
Yeah. Fernie all day, in my opinion, but watch it be another controversial split decision.
Watch it be a Makade situation.
Yeah.
At least Fernie's lost before, so he's shown he can come back from adversity. But yeah, I mean, either way, like the thing that is littered throughout Fernie's record is split decisions, whether that last one was or not. I mean, there are more splits on his record than any guy can remember in that amount of fights. So that is something that you don't love to sweat with much higher than the price he's at, if I'm being honest.
But if those splits were like the last one he had, then I don't agree with any of them. They should all be
then they
unanimous.
probably, but
I don't
most
know.
likely, yeah. I got some of them I couldn't find any footage on, but yeah, this is Fernie. I'm not going to overthink it. We get to our next fight here at 155 between Abdul Karim Al Salwadi, who I'm just going to call Abdul from here on out, versus versus Jake Sebastian. This is at 155 lightweights. Al Salwadi is 10-3, coming off of 2 straight KO losses. Sebastian 6-2. Sebastian did fight back in February, won by armbar. Real quick, the guy he faced 6-40.
Oh,
the guy he faced, guy he faced before that 0-2. He submitted both those guys, but Jake Sebastian's been knocked out 3 times in his 4 losses. 2 of those were in the first round. Al Sawadi, I get he is coming off of 2 straight knockouts. Also, Sebastian has fought at welterweight a lot, so I don't expect the chin to be better for him at 155. Al Sawadi, he has 6 KO finishes, most of which coming in the first round. Also 1 in the second round. I think that Al Sawadi comes in here and gets another KO. I just think that Sebastian is the older guy. Al Sawadi only 25 years old. Definitely having something to prove coming off of 2 straight finish losses. I don't know how old Jake Sebastian is, but he looks like mid-30s. I just think Al Sawadi pretty much has his way and gets the KO.
Yeah, I like Abdul here as well, Abdul Karim. He actually has a notable win against Lucas Martins, who was in the UFC prior. So that was a fun little gem I found. If you remember Lucas Martins, I think he was on one of the Ultimate Fighter seasons. He actually left the UFC on a win, but he is coming off 2 losses. Abdul he's taken the appropriate amount of time off. I think his last fight was a year and a half ago. I expect he's just been sharpening his tools. He's taken the right, protocols after getting rattled like that. And the 2 opponents he got knocked out by, one has 13 knockouts as a professional, the other has 9 knockouts as a professional. So I don't really blame him for getting knocked out by these guys. It's a learning lesson. And Abdul's still so young. Like, it's kind of like a Nasrat Haqparast situation. He got knocked out by Drew Dober, and look at him now. Like, he's on a 2-fight winning streak. So yeah, I got Abdul here. Jake's a submission guy. He's not a knockout threat. All Jake does is submissions. As long as Abdul can, defend the submission attacks, I got Abdul knocking him out or winning by decision here.
Yeah, this is one of my more confident picks of the night.
What are the odds, then?
Minus 325. So
you got to parlay him.
We're getting to that point where we don't love it. I don't want to find out that he has no submission game also all of a sudden here, where I'm like, he just has to worry about the KO. But still, I'm putting him with Garcia and Quinlan. I feel okay with that, honestly, to start out my night.
Maybe do a Fortis MMA parlay. Get Abdul and what's the other Fortis MMA?
Fernie. Fernie. Yeah,
Fernie and Abdul.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the Fortis MMA parlay going.
Yeah, and that just kind of previews for the rest. For this next fight, I am not confident at all. I'm going to say that right off the bat.
Women's fight.
It's women's strawweight co-main event. Vanessa Demopoulos, who's had some classics in the LFA for sure. She's lost 2 straight to Corey McKenna, who's running the UFC, so no shame there. And Lupita Godinez, who should be in the UFC. I have interviewed Lupita multiple times, and I just do not know what more she's going to have to do. She's
Mexican and Canadian. What else are you hoping for the UFC?
She's a legit star in the making.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see her in there. But Vanessa's taking on Cynthia Arceo here. This is an interesting one. But Vanessa really should go in there, be able to initiate the grappling, clinch it up, control that until it gets to the ground, and then submit Cynthia, frankly. What I saw out of Cynthia against Loveth Young, who Loveth Young is just not that good. period. And Loveth Young was able to submit Cynthia Arezzo from her back with no hooks in and put her to sleep. Loveth is a KO puncher. She's not known for her submissions.
She's a physical specimen, though.
And she's done great there.
Nigerian.
For sure. Yeah, and she's done great there. But I'm saying the way that she got reversed on the ground really showed some issues. Vanessa, legitimate ground specialist. The inverted triangle she got on Sam Hughes was incredible. The war she was in with Lupita was awesome. Mm-hmm. I expect Vanessa to get back on. Vanessa should get back on track here.
I agree. That Lupita fight, I was watching that. I wanted to tweet out something like, this might be the craziest woman fight I've ever seen. It's right up there with Joanna and Weili Zhang. A different style of fight, but it was just I love that fight, man.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It was a majority decision. One judge had it a draw, so like it literally could have went either way.
Vanessa's striking looked better. Vanessa's faced better competition, and so she should be able to cruise this one.
I don't trust her though.
I don't trust her either. She fights too close, and she loses in spots maybe she shouldn't. And this really could be one of them. Minus 240 for Vanessa. It's a decent price, not nearly good enough for a low level, or not low level, high level women's, but it's just still.
Yeah.
Cynthia's got real KO power. She really can. If this stays striking, Vanessa's going to struggle. I don't trust that price at all. I'm honestly leaving it pretty much alone at minus 240.
She doesn't actually get takedowns though. She kind of just does the Chase Hooper approach, and like she'll do
she doesn't have
drop
the
to her guard or do it like Imanari.
Yeah. So now, exactly.
Everybody knows her game at this point.
And that's what I'm saying. And she has taken a lot of damage. And while she's shown toughness, eventually that chin
knockout artist.
Yeah. Eventually that chin gets chipped away, and then a hard hitter like Cynthia could take advantage of it.
Where does Cynthia train out of? United Shotokan Association Karate.
Yeah. So that's again, doesn't sound like the best groundwork happening there.
No.
So, like, you can probably trust Vanessa, but there's going to be one of these dogs that come through on this card. I have a real feeling about that. I'm leaning towards
it. Win, and she might not even deserve to win.
Right. I'm leaning towards it being Dallas, if I'm being honest, over Quinlan, if I had to pick my dog, because we get to the main event now, and it's Batsumberel Dagvadorj, also known as the Mongolian Falcon. He's taken on Spike Carlyle, former UFC. This is at 155, so we have one guy coming down from 170 after an absolute war, which if you didn't see Batsumberel's last fight against Maidona, that was a rough one. He took a ton of damage, several 10-8 rounds, and it wasn't that long ago. It was only in December of last year. So, I mean, it was, I guess that's 4 months ago now, but like still, like, it's not that much time off. He's fighting at 155. He has not fought at 155 that I can see ever. He's had catch weights at 175. He's fought at welterweight for the rest of his career. So he's finding out against a former UFC talent who won in the UFC, and Spike Carlyle, who lost 2 decisions to really decent competition, frankly, in Bill Algeo and Billy Quantillo. Both guys would run ranks through the LFA. This is Spike Carlyle all day for me. I think Spike Carlyle gets a finish too, but I think this is a showcase fight for Spike against a guy who still has a decent amount of hype in the Mongolian Falcon. So I'm going Spike Carlyle, and I like the KO. I don't think that Batsumberel is going to have enough of a game plan to outmaneuver Spike for 2 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
That's what you need to do to beat Spike. We all know what you need to do to beat Spike.
Yeah, you're bang on, Aaron. Like, I like the odds too, and it's not like you even have to prop it. He's almost even money.
It's a pick 'em. It's 115 apiece.
Yeah,
it's 115 apiece. This is crazy.
I thought it was a welterweight championship fight to begin with.
So
was it ever scheduled to be a welterweight fight or no?
I don't think it was ever, because that would mean that Spike Carlyle was going up 2 divisions.
Yeah, that's why I was going to say this on the podcast. I can't believe Spike's jumping up 2 divisions. But
I mean, maybe if he was that concerned about his gas, maybe. But it's just you gotta love an MMA where it's like you have a gas issue, gain 10 pounds. It's nothing like real life where it's like, oh, my cardio sucks. Let me put 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I put 10
Shouldn't have
pounds
been
on. I'm
fighting
like,
at 145 anyways.
he was a monster at 145.
Alpha Ginger is
Yeah.
built like a tank.
Yeah, he could fight at 170 and still be fine physically.
That's what that's why I wasn't
He'd be
surprised.
short as hell. But this is Spike. Tell me I'm wrong.
I just can't see. I don't know about the knockout, but either way, he's going to win a knockout or a decision because
Spike has never won a decision.
Dagvadorj has
the
never been
Mongolian
knocked out.
Falcon.
The Mongolian Falcon has never been. He's a tough SOB, man.
One's
So
never
Spike
been
might
finished.
just put a clinic on him and he can sharpen his tools.
One's never been finished, but just came off of a 3-round beating with 2 10-8 rounds against a 170 kickboxer. I think he's still going to be severely compromised from that. And Spike Carlyle has never gone to a decision.
And I don't rate Macon Medensa that highly. He just lost against Fabio Charant, who's actually making his UFC debut this weekend.
Yep.
And Fabio made it look pretty easy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of these things where, I really like the UFC product here to get back on track, get set up for. I'd love to see Spike Carlyle versus Dakota Bush for who wins gets to go back in the UFC.
Or Bellator or PFL.
Dakota Bush is at that point now where he deserves a Spike Carlyle. He's been in the LFA since the beginning of his career. I think he's fought 8 times with 7 finishes. Lost one.
Dakota Bush. He's an LFA vet at this point.
Yeah, I think the longest.
And great call last week. I gotta say it. Great call with Bruno, man. The odds just kept inflating on Miles. I'm like, Aaron knows something. Fade the public. At the end of the day, guys, you have to fade the public. It's like Kevin Holland. Everybody on Kevin Holland. Take Derek Brunson.
That's what I'm saying.
Easy. I didn't even have to sweat in that fight. Maybe in the second round, he knocked him down for a second. And I hedged Kevin Holland by knockout anyways. So
yeah, I mean, I
had submission props. Sorry, I had submission props plus 1,700 in the second round. He had that arm triangle, and I was on one knee just praying. Tap, Kevin. Remember that arm triangle?
Oh yeah,
it was plus I thought he had it by sub. Everybody called me an idiot. I'm like,
especially when Kevin went quiet. I was like, oh, he's really struggling now. He's silent. Like
I thought he tapped for us. I swear I saw him tap. Maybe that was just my mind playing tricks.
But I'm telling you, man, one thing I can always guarantee with my breakdowns is I will ignore what the public chatter is.
Yeah.
So for tonight, it's a perfect little segue into the UFC tonight. Again, UFC 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself, Jimmy the Brick Flick, UFC flyweight contender, and MMA middleweight prospect. I'll soon be able to say the organization he'll be fighting for, Brian Battle. Can't say it yet, but it's a big one. And 5-1, Brian Battle. He's defeated Impa Kasangane with 2 10-8 rounds as an amateur. So Brian is no joke. So go ahead and join us tonight because there's a lot of MMA public to ignore with tonight's picks, in my opinion. Between what's been said about Tyron Woodley, between what's been said about the main event, and many more, there's a lot of interesting breakdowns tonight. But I'm going to keep my thoughts for that for now. Any parting words for the LFA breakdown? My opinion, the dog to watch is Dallas Jennings over Josh Quinlan. That would be my dog to really, really watch. Cynthia Arceo would be my other dog that I would consider, but not betting on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't see a lot of dogs barking tomorrow.
It's only 5 fights. They really don't have to have a dog necessarily. I just have a feeling one's coming.
And through. LFA, I find the favorites do win more than they lose, especially in LFA. It's gonna be a fun card either way.
Yeah. Where can people find you if they're looking to follow more of your kind of bets, weigh-in photos and everything?
Yeah, buddy. So that's a big thing tonight. I'm looking forward to the weigh-in photos. That
whenever they come out, they develop them in that dark room, man. Like it's
I don't realize why it takes like 13 hours to post, but you can follow me at MMA Wagers, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Use jazzsports.ag for all your bets. It doesn't have to be MMA. Any sport you want to bet on, use MMAW promo code. And they actually have the live video for the MMA fights, UFC, Bellator, right on their website. So instead of trying to find all these streams, go to jazzsports.ag. They'll have the fights on there for you. So
Perfect.
yeah, there you go,
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
And
And you
thanks a
heard
lot,
me.
Aaron, for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. And in the future, we'll do the Titan FC. That's my fault. I've
Yeah,
been
I
traveling
don't
this
think
week.
there's any LFA next week,
Yeah, there's
but
no
we'll figure
LFA,
something out.
no LFA next week. But I will be doing a Bellator light heavyweight tournament Grand Prix preview show next week. So be busting out that CFFC as well. If I can
Yep.
get those together, maybe we'll join for those. But we'll be back with the next LFA whenever that is for LFA 104. But LFA 103 is in the books. Again, don't forget, if you're watching this channel right now, subscribe to Coffee and KOs. Those guys are doing a great job. They've given me a really good platform here as I've transitioned away for the time being, but we'll see what the future holds. But Aaron the Dog will continue doing breakdowns wherever he will be had. Yeah, for MMA wagers and Aaron the Dog, go out there, make your bets, and keep taking care of each other. Peace out.
Peace, guys. See ya.